أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا طيبا. So inshallah today we will be doing Surah al-Baqarah ayat number 17 to ayat number 20, 17, 18, 19 and 20. In the previous ayats, we have so far done the three categories of people that Allah has introduced to us, the pious and the disbelievers and then the hypocrites. And from the categories, we can see the most ayats have been so far about the introduction of who the hypocrites are, which shows that this is already a little bit more complicated category than the righteous Muslims and the disbelievers. In the ayats from 17 to 20, we are also going to discuss hypocrites, and we will be discussing the two types. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained the two types of hypocrites by giving examples, and from those examples we infer what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about their habits, their characteristics furthermore. So let's start with ayat number 17 inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مثلهم, the example, ka, as if, masali, the example, allazi, of the one who, istawqada, somebody who has started the fire, or it is fawqa of dal is usually to ignite the fire, to start a fire. And masalahum and kamasali both have the root mim salam. So the example of the one who kindled the fire or started the fire, naran, a fire, falamma, then, adaat, dad, waw, hamza. So the difference between nur or nar and adaat is that adaat is something that has its own light. So adaat, it lighted, the fire lighted, ma, what, hawlahu, hawala, its surroundings. When you light a fire, the surroundings are more visible. Zahab Allahu, Zahab, took away, Allahu, Allah. What did Allah take away from them? Bi nurihim, nur, him, there, wa, and tarakahum, tarak, left them, them, fi, in, zulumatin, in the darknesses. La, not, yubsirun, baswadra, they can see. Let me tell you the analysis of this example that Allah has given. Of course, when you will get a little better with tafsir and you will be able to read the different scholars' opinions, you might find slightly different versions of how they've explained, how they have understood this example, but mostly it is about the hypocrites or the disbelievers. And is 17 and 18 deals with one type of hypocrites who have the problem with faith, hypocrisy about faith. And 19 and 20, ayat number 19 and 20, deal with the example which tells us about the hypocrites who have problem with practicing. So hypocrisy of practice. So in the 17 and 18, what you will see is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, we have to imagine that we are in a forest. It is night time. It is extremely dark. And in that time, somebody lights the fire. The person who lights the fire, will that be visible to everyone, like those who are in that range, like if nothing is blocking them? Yes or no? Yes. Unless, who will not be able to see this person? Who will not be able to see the fire? Not this person. Who will not be able to see the fire? So it has to be either somebody who is blind or somebody who says no, who is in denial, right? If they're saying no to something they can actually see, but they're saying no. So the ayat number 17 and 18, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the example of somebody letting the fire in pitch darkness, and then some other people who can, there is no reason for them to say no, that I can't see the light, except that either they just have a problem with believing that okay, that is a fire. So in this example, the person who lights the fire is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The light itself, the fire or the light, is Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent with him, and the light, like the campfire, the light that you and it also has heat, so it has warmth, and also it is giving light, meaning you're able to see your way better. It helps you guide where to walk, where to go. And those people who still say no, I don't see the light, they are either blind, because a blind person will not find a difference whether the light, the external lights are on or off. And the other person who would not see the light, or who would say no, I don't see a light, is somebody who's stubborn enough to say that I don't see a light. And these stubborn people are the hypocrites who have problem with the faith. This could also be the disbelievers. Within the disbelievers also, we covered a category that they are hypocrites. So when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina, at that time of the people, they became Muslims, but soon many people became hypocrites. So meaning they did. Soon it was found out that many people are hypocrites, because they did not really believe in Islam as much as they wanted to just be on the good side of both the Muslims and the non-Muslims. So they did not want that, okay, if we live in the same city, we do not want trouble. They just want to get the benefits of all sides, especially when the Muslims had a very huge victory in the first Battle of Badr. So anyways, also let me try to explain this example that if there's a power outage and there's a flashlight that you use, or a candle, that is going to actually help you find where is the kitchen, and where do I go, how do I go to the bathroom. If it's complete dark, the flashlight actually helps you, so you don't stub your foot, and you can walk very carefully. So basically the Quran gives the guidance, and before Quran there was just darkness. People didn't know what to do, what is the right thing to do, what is the right way to live, and Quran came as the light in that darkness, and it gave them guidance about all the decisions in their life, about going to the path to Jannah, walking on the path to Jannah, and doing the right things. So now in this light, try to read this ayat. Masalahum kamasalil lazi. The example of the person is such that, as an example of istawqada, somebody who lit, kindled the naran, fire. Falamma, and then adaat, when the fire was lighted, ma hawluhu, it also lighted its surroundings. It also started making the surroundings more visible. Zahaballahu, took away Allah binurihim, their light. So they because of their constant denial, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away their light, made them blind. Even if it's not literally blind, it just means that they were not able to see. If you constantly deny, if you're not using your eyes properly, then it's just as if you're blind, you don't have eyes. Wa and tarakahum, and left them fi zulumatin, in the darkness. So even if the light is there, the external light is there, but if they refuse to take benefit from it, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away their sight and left them in darkness. Because a person who is blind, it doesn't matter if there is external light or not. La yubsirun, so they cannot see. So they don't have the basira, don't have the basira to understand the creation of Allah. They don't see the signs of Allah. Summun, summun means deaf. Bukmun, dumb or mute. Umyun, blind. Fahum, so they, la, not yarji'un, they will not return. Rajim, ain. So where will they not return? They will not return to Deen, meaning they were already on Deen. If they claimed to be Muslims, meaning they had the knowledge of Islam accessible, they were always there, they were there, and they are choosing to be hypocrites. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they have trouble with faith, so they are not going to return. And now 19 and 20 deal with the example which explains to us the hypocrisy related to practicing Islam. Aw, or kasayyibin, ka, as if, or the example of sayyib is like a rainstorm, very heavy rain, and the root is swad wa ba. So, or it's like a rainstorm, min, from as-samai, from the skies. Fihi, in it are zulumatan. So, if there is a heavy rain, what are the things that we expect to have? Thunder, lightning, thunderclaps. So, in this one, we will learn that the people who have problem with practicing Islam, they just want only good things to happen, only benefits, only the advantages of being a Muslim. But when it comes to giving charity, or when it comes to volunteering, or leaving their trade or business and praying salah, or helping Islam in any way, they don't like to do that. They just want to take. They don't want to give anything to Islam. And in the example, you will see that Allah mentions there's a rainstorm with thunder and lightning and everything, and then there are people who would just not walk, and they will just stop when they want to. And also, from the sounds of thunder, they would put their fingers in the ear, so they think that just by blocking that sound, they will be able to protect themselves from the lightning. However, if Allah wants, Allah can take their life or their sight or anything that Allah wants. So it is just them thinking that they can save themselves just by poking the fingers in the ears. And what it means is that they think that they can save themselves, their lives, by not going to battles, or they can just save themselves from giving money in charity. When if Allah wants, Allah can take away their whole, like all their money. They think that they can protect their money, they can protect their lives, but Allah can give them death anywhere. Allah can get them hurt anywhere. Allah can take away their money anytime. So it's just their thinking that they can actively hold something and stop something from being taken away. So أو كصيب من السماء, or it is like a rainstorm from the sky. فيه, in it, ظلمات, there is darkness. Wa, and what else is there? Ra'adun, there is thunder. Wa, and what else is there? Barqun, the lightning. Baraqaf. Other piece of information, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's, the animal on which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went on Miraj was called Buraq, also probably because it had the speed of lightning. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that in the rainstorm there was darkness, there was thunder, there was lightning. Yaj'aluna, they put asabi'ahum, sad ba'ain, which means the fingers, the pores of their fingers, fi, in, azanihim, in their ears. Hamza zal nun. Min, from, as-sawa'iqi, the thunder claps. Saqa is also thunder. Hazar al-maut, in the fear of death. They were scared of those thunderclaps, thinking that these might kill them. So they thought that, okay, just by blocking the noise, we can save ourselves. Wallahu, and Allah, muhitun, hawatwa, which means he can encompass, bil kafirin, the disbelievers. And then 20, yakadu, almost, al-barqu, the lightning, yakhtafu, khataf. Khataf means to snatch, take something suddenly. Absarahum, their sight, baswadra, kullama, whenever Ada is the same root, Dad, Wa, Hamza, Lahum for them, Mashaw, Mim, Sheen, Ya. They walk. So whenever it flashes, whenever there is light, they walk. Fihi in it. Wa and Iza when Azlama that darkens, alayhim on them, Qamu, Qaf, Mim, they stand. So when it's dark, they stand. They don't like it that there are dark times, that there are times when they are supposed to help the Muslims or Islam. So they just stop. They refuse to walk the walk, and they just say that, okay, make excuses, or they find ways to stay out of it. Walau, and if sha'a wanted, had willed, Allahu Allah, la, he would, zahaba, he would take away, be, with sam'ihim, seen, mim, ain, their hearing, wa and absarihim, baswadra, their sight, inna allaha, indeed Allah, ala, upon, kulli, every, shay'in, thing, qadir, powerful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has complete power. Allah can take away anything from that whenever Allah wants. They cannot save it. So just a little analysis on why we are told about this, and how like it is scary that we might fall into one of these types. We can see very clearly that people who have some problem with the belief, basically the reason why I think that this is hypocrites and not disbelievers is because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduces that somebody lit the light, then their own nur was taken away. So the people who are disbelievers, they would outright say that, okay, I don't see a light. They would just stay stubborn that there is absolutely no light, because they just said that we don't believe in it, and they kept on struggling against it. They wanted to fight against it. They wanted to keep refusing that Islam is light, or to accept Islam in any way possible. So we could consider that the people who outright refuse to take guidance from it, or to move towards the light for its warmth, or for its light, to get some guidance, to get some help in finding their way out, they were the disbelievers. What the hypocrite did was that they had problem with believing it. However, they did not benefit, they did not want to benefit from this light. And what are the benefits that we get from the light? Just like I give you the example of using a flashlight in our day-to-day life. If there is any dark place, or when we are camping at night, or when we are walking in winter nights, then the flashlight helps us navigate, and we are able to see better if there is anything in our way, or inside the house if there is. It helps us find our way to the main door if there is a knock, or to if we need to get something from the kitchen, or if anyone wants to use the restroom, or so the light of Islam, the nur of Islam, the benefits of Quran are that it helps us navigate through our life. It helps us make our decisions. It helps us solve our problems of our day-to-day life, of how and where to give charity, how to raise kids, how to be with our family, how to be with our spouse, what should we do in certain situations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us with all those kinds of questions, because Quran is a light. It helps us live a better life. But the benefit can only be achieved when we actually acknowledge that this is light and it is beneficial. What the hypocrites did was that they walked along with the Muslims, because they thought that it is better to just stay in good books for both the Muslims and the non-Muslims. But they did not use their eyes to see that light, to benefit from that light. They still wanted to stay in that darkness that the disbelievers preferred to stay in. So just like if the person would not use a certain muscle, it will become weak. whatever faculties we do not use, we don't use our brain so much, it doesn't stay that sharp. So a person who walks more often, they have a better stamina than somebody who does not walk for years and years and years. In the same way, when they did not want to see or take benefit from the light of Quran, from the nur that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had provided them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away their light, their basira, that okay, you do not want to see how Islam can help you become a better person, then, and you are actually preferring inside in your heart, you're actually preferring to live in the darkness that the disbelievers live, or in the darkness that you guys were living before, then you can, even if there is external life all around you, you are amongst the Muslims. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually takes the nur away from that. They don't have that insight, they do not have that power of seeing Allah's signs. In the second example, we see, which is okay, I feel that it is more dangerous, because the person, the hypocrite who has a problem with practicing Islam, is the kind of person who does believe in Islam, things seem right to him. However, out of laziness or stubbornness or their own beliefs or lifestyle or busy lifestyle of, material, running after all the things of this temporary life, the jobs and business and children and decorating the house and shopping and partying and vacationing, and so all those things, they keep the people away from their worship, their rituals, as well as their day-to-day life, being a Muslim in their day-to-day life. And sadly, we see that happening very often in our own Muslims, and they might not know that we are kind of becoming hypocrites. Even when we were doing the ayats from 8 to 16, there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word yash'urun, that they were not aware of. And many Muslims, unfortunately, we are not aware of how we're slipping away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be like, what we are supposed to get from Islamic way of life, how we are not supposed to deal with interest or other kind of haram ways of earning money, or how we are not supposed to take part in any kind of corruption, or we are not supposed to encourage shamelessness or immodesty, the types of clothes that we wear, the types of weddings that we have these days, the types of parties that we have. There's a lot of israf, and israf means spending more than the situation, the event deserves. So our weddings, they do not reflect how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to do. Nikah, the divorce in amongst Muslims is nothing like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us. So the practices, besides even the regular rituals like the salah, it is very common, it is very normal for us to miss salah and say that, yeah, I try to do at least 2 or 3 a day. So we are very much okay with how we are. We do not feel that there is a requirement which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to fulfill if we want to call ourselves Muslims.